Are you looking for a podcast where you can hear from real people regarding their real dental drama? If so, then you've come to the right place. Join hosts Bethany Petty and Dr. Reena Kuba as we dive into the solutions we've created and the mistakes we've made while managing dental drama. Let's get started.
Well, good morning. It's good to be back in the closet with you today to chat and get your feedback. I think the topic that you mentioned this morning that you wanted to discuss is bonuses.
Yes.
So today's the first day of December and Christmas looming around the corner. We've all made it through Thanksgiving and all the questions that we, and I say we meaning practice owners, have now thinking, okay, what am I doing for the team? I'm sure bonuses or gifts or something is expected. Yeah. And so I think you mentioned that you've had a lot of clients this past week alone before Thanksgiving, I guess, or just this week, that at least 4 different practice owners asking about bonuses and what to do. And I'm always asking you that question. I think I shot you a text the other day and I said, well, I'm thinking of this or this. Can you weigh in? Yeah. So I think that's a pretty relevant topic, especially this time of the year. So I was hoping we could talk more about bonuses and get your thoughts on what you see other offices do. We can talk about what I've done and see if we can get some ideas rolling here.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And I do think time is relevant right here because we kind of think about bonuses off and on through the year, but especially the end of the year, I feel like everybody's radar is up on, what we need to do. And in all honesty, last year for 2020, it was kind of like nobody was thinking about bonuses or end of year gifts. This year, it's kind of come back with full force. Like, we probably need to do something for team members. So let's talk first about kind of end of year bonus ideas or things that you've done in the past. And then we can kind of branch out into bigger picture, full year bonus options. So one of the questions that you asked me, the most recent question that you asked me, was specifically a dollar amount associated to your Christmas party. So you tend to connect kind of the end of year gift or the Christmas bonus, as some people might call it, the end of year bonus, with your holiday party that's coming up actually at the end of this week. So tell me the question, or tell the listeners the question that you asked so that we can kind of get an idea of what you do.
So I think early on in the years of practice, I would do a bonus, and it was kind of based on seniority almost. Mm-hmm. And so I did that, I think, probably for the first 2, 3, maybe 4 years. And then I finally was like, no. You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, it probably changed once we started implementing different bonuses in the office throughout the year. So not just for the end of the year. So then it didn't really make sense to do this nest egg of a bonus. Now, I think I got that concept from a previous office I had worked for. And I know he kind of looked at the end of the year and looked at seniority, how the person was doing that year and their contributions. And then they'd get a pretty sizable check at the end of the year. So if you'd only been around for a year, you were like kind of the hygiene assistant, it may be like $100 or $200, but up to $1,800, $2,000 per employee, depending on how long you'd been there. And where I kind of liked that system, because it was kind of neat at the end of the year. I think what I didn't like about it is it seemed kind of arbitrary. Like if somebody had done really well in February, but then they're not getting compensated for that until the end of the year, or if they know that this bonus is coming at the end of the year, so now they're going to be a lunk for like 8 months, and then like the last 3 months they're going, oh, bonuses are around the corner, I better act better. Right. I think of my kid who's been driving me up a wall, and I've been using this stupid elf on the shelf thing. Oh, well, Jingle's going to be here. I don't know that you're going to, get your, and now like I'm looking forward to this month of good behavior, and then it's going to be gone again because she knows, right? So I've kind of pigeonholed myself into that. And I feel like that's kind of what it was with the employees, where they're kind of going, oh, now I've got to really put my best foot forward. But where's that the rest of the year? And then I also don't like, and we've talked about this in other podcasts, that just because you've been there longer, you get more. Why? Yeah. Like, what new things are you bringing to the table? So I've really tried to get away from that. So I think all of that was kind of my pros and cons, but I didn't know how else to do it. So that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
Fast forward to now where we do have other bonuses in place. So it really doesn't make sense. Like this bonus is never going to be higher than what they're already earning. Like it can't be, financially it can't be. I can't do that.
Right.
But then where's the wow factor with it? So, and then I kind of started going a few years ago. That's where I was like, nope, I'm capping the gift amount at this. So that way, you know, your gift is going to be
In
no
this
more
range.
than this amount. And I think it was $300, I want to say, for if you'd been there, you know, a year or more, whatever it was. And if you were a new hire, it was probably like $50,
50
$20,
bucks,
something
yeah.
like that. And with my Christmas party, I also do a nice lunch. And of course, that's where it gets tricky because me personally, I don't think the staff appreciates or counts the amount I'm spending on the lunch
Right.
as part of going, this is the total Christmas gift. They're literally looking at what they opened in their bag
Yeah.
and the value of that. So for me, again, it was kind of like setting the bar a little bit lower. And we had a reset with
Yes.
COVID last year because that's where I was like, sorry, no gift. If y'all have listened to that podcast and you know, they had to earn their gift, if you will. Although I did spend a significant amount on treating them.
Right.
Now, again, how many of them realize what I spent per person to have this holiday party? Would they not have rather had that in cash? Like we do nothing for a holiday party. So that's what I'm always kind of going back and forth on, where I think, you know, the staff thinks that, you know, they want the nice culture in the office. They want to be treated well and respected. And I do that in little ways. I buy lunches often. We do team buildings often. But at the end of the day, they're still expecting that hourly increase.
Right.
But I'm like, but do you know how much I've spent on you this year? So I kind of shoot myself in the foot a little bit with that.
Yeah.
Again, with my kids, for example, today's the first day the Elf on the Shelf came out. And we've never done an Advent calendar thing.
Yeah.
I didn't grow up with Advent.
Yeah.
Like that wasn't a thing in our house. So it's taken me this long. My kids are 8 and 9. I finally understand Advent this year. I never really got what that meant. So anyway, so I've set up an Advent thing this year. And the first gift that they got was dollar socks from Target.
Yeah.
And you could see both of their face, but they're like, oh, I think they were just wanting more. And I was like, I'm going to set that bar very low because I've got to do this for the next 23 days. So you spoiled, rotten little munchkins, you. And so I feel like the office is kind of the same way where I really find myself reassessing right now going, well, I feel like I've done enough for you all year. Why I need to go out with the bang and give you stuff now? What are you giving me back?
Right.
And I don't want a gift. I want good attitudes, hard work. And I often don't see that. In fact, we're struggling right now with a lot of that bad attitude.
Yeah.
And I start going, why am I doing all of this? So I think that also ties in with the bonus conversation in that
Absolutely it does.
I want the expectations, human nature, the expectations there, wherever you work. I don't know if McDonald's does anything, so maybe I shouldn't say wherever you work, but you know,
Most
most
places.
people are expecting something. It's human nature. And so what is that to where I don't feel bitter about what I've given you? And so I think that's where we're all
And I
asking you that
think
question.
Being really clear, you've thrown out a lot of concepts right now that I want to circle back to, but you've had more of a clear communication about what to expect. Quite honestly, it's been, last year was again a reset where you were able to kind of come out ahead of the end of year and just go, hey, just so you guys know, we're not going to have our typical end of year, you know, bonus and all of that. And so I think they were prepared for that. But also I think you've been pretty darn consistent with what the end of year gift is from a financial standpoint, that your team has become very accustomed to what to expect. So a lot of what can get confusing is the expectations, especially if you think back 5 years ago to kind of this shift that you made to kind of spreading the bonuses or the trying to get the behavior that you want throughout the year rather than kind of storing it all up for the end of the year. We kept, yesterday when we were together, we kept referring to a mushroom cloud of things. Like one decision from a bonus standpoint ultimately impacts so many other decisions. So how an office sets up their bonus plan, let's call it a plan, and I'm using air quotations here, but if we're going to put all of our eggs into the end of year basket, like there's no really other opportunity to gain throughout the year or to bonus throughout the year, that's fine. It just puts a lot of weight on that end of year expectation. What are the employees expecting? We have to really think about what's going to make an impact for them, what they actually want. Is it an event? Is it just please take that money and put it into cash? There's going to be more weight, I guess, on that end of year bonus than if we've done a lot of other good things throughout the year. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying if that's the only thing somebody's doing, we've got to really actually spend a lot of time thinking about it, and even spending time trying to understand our staff members' expectations for what they're kind of thinking should be the end of year gift or money or bonus or whatever we want to call it. You're in a different position because it's not that there's not weight on it. It's just the expectation from a financial standpoint is pretty clear to your team because it's been so consistent from an end of year standpoint. So that removes some of the burden off of you. I can remember years ago where we were going back, and you and I were going back and forth on this dollar amount or that dollar amount, and there was so much discussion that went into that. Now it's less discussion because you've kind of settled into a rhythm or a routine, and you can feel confident in what you've decided on because there's so many other things that you do for your team throughout the year. So you want to comment on end of year, what you do in particular?
So I think usually it's been, again, take last year aside, but for the last 3 or 4 years besides COVID year, it was 300 was the max. So if you're the person that's been there for 10 years, you're still only getting the max of a $300 gift, which I still think is quite generous because that's not counting the amount I've just spent on whatever entertainment we just did.
Exactly.
Again, whether I doubt they see it that way, but regardless, in my mind, that's where we are. And then newbies, again, anywhere from either a $20 gift card if you just started 2 months ago, or sometimes nothing. You got to have lunch with us, because I want to set that expectation earlier on. So this year, the question I had for you this year, and hopefully, this episode's not going to drop until after the event.
Yes,
so
exactly.
No chance of anybody hearing it and spoiling it. But this year we are going, and the team doesn't know yet. I've just kind of given them some hints. And I'm going to tell them Thursday night, and we go Friday, and we're going to meet up at a mall up here in Dallas. It's kind of a nice mall. And we're going to 2 shops. So I'm going to tell them that morning we're going to this shop, and you've got $150 between both shops to buy stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's the question I've had for you for the last couple of weeks is what's the amount, the dollar amount that I'm gifting them to go shopping with. And so for me, again, like a shopping spree and somebody spoiling you and how great that feels. And we're all doing it together. The bad part is my staff has been on my nerves for the last month or so. And I feel like I've got a bunch of spoiled, rotten munchkins in the office. And so I'm being a feely. I don't feel like giving you more.
Yeah.
So I've kind of had an attitude problem myself, I suppose. So at one point I was thinking $300 worth of shopping.
Yeah.
And now I dropped that to, well, I think it's still $300 because I got them a $100 gift card to go shopping on their own. But then I was going to do another $200, $100 at each store.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm kind of cranky pants, so I've dropped it to $150. Yeah. And I think I texted you and I said, I'm going to want your opinion Thursday night.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm going to have to go through the ups and downs of how I feel this week. If I'm feeling in a good, generous mood and the staff has made me happy on Thursday, we might bump up to $200. And now at the boat I'm in, I'm like, you get 50, you get 25 at each store. And that's it, because they're also getting lunch.
Right.
And they're also getting, I'm calling it my swag bag. And I've got a bag for each of them with little gifts in there. But the total value of the gifts in that bag is probably around 50-ish bucks.
Yeah.
So between the 50 and the $100 gift card, it's already 150.
Yeah. Probably
my guess is 50 to 70 each per lunch cost.
Yeah.
And then now I'm going to take you shopping too. And everybody's going to process that different. There's going to be some that are going to go, oh my gosh, she took us to lunch. It was such a nice lunch. She did this, she did this. And then there's going to be the other set that's going to be like, oh, I only got to spend this much shopping.
Right.
And not count the lunch in their head and not count the gifts in their head. So I mean, that's human nature. So I have to tell myself it's human nature. Some are going to appreciate it more than others. And when I say appreciate it, appreciate the whole concept.
Yes.
So really then I kind of go back to, okay, well then just, I'm going to stick with how I feel. And, if I do decide just to do 150 at each shop, I feel like I'm still setting a expectation that, yeah, this could fluctuate and you're not entitled to the 300.
And it's still not completely unexpected, because I feel like the gifts have usually fallen between that $150 to $300 range. So it's not like you're all of a sudden going, well, just scrap the gift card, scrap the shopping, and we're just doing lunch. You're not so feely that you're kind of throwing the consistency out. You're still sticking within a frame of reference that you've always had. You're just fluctuating, really, when we look at it, up $50 or down $50.
Right. And to be honest, though, and you could probably argue with me on this one, but I start going, well, if I wanted to just do lunch, I should be allowed to just do lunch too. Yeah. Because I feel like I do enough throughout the rest of the year. And are we not setting the culture then to say this could vary and you shouldn't count on it? Kind of like with my kid, you shouldn't count on there being a gift. We've got slips for the next 3 weeks that just say have a good day. You're not getting anything, because I want to reset, because they're so used to getting so much. And so I guess that would be the other point. And I think you've said it in other podcasts is, if you don't do anything for your team otherwise, then maybe you don't want to ruin it now doing a really nice bonus, because then you're going to be held to that. Or maybe this is the time that you need to celebrate your team extra hard so that they do stay with you, because the end of the year is hard on everybody. One, from a financial standpoint, we all know that. We all just went through Thanksgiving and had to deal with our families, and all of that comes with that. Turn around, get hit in the face with Christmas, and all that comes with that. And then the chaos in the office and end of year. I think so many people have so much going on in their own worlds, that this could be a moment of either great disappointment if they were counting on something, or it could be a great moment to kind of reset and go, you shouldn't count on anything.
Right.
So I don't know.
One of the things, though, that I think is important for listeners to hear in this is, when we look at your end of year activity, one of the things that I really like about it is that it's multifaceted. So I get a little bit nervous or a little bit uncomfortable when we create a gift or an event or something that is just kind of honed in on one type of person. So, for example, let's say we scrap everything and we just do the lunch. Some people are going to really love that. They're like, oh my gosh, it was such a great lunch. We had fun, talking with one another. And that's all they needed. And they feel appreciated and they feel honored by that. There's going to be other people on the team that are like, lunch? That's it? So that's when you add in this second component. Wow, you're getting this $100 gift card, a shopping gift card to go and spend at your leisure to help with the financial burden of Christmas gifts and all of that. So there's a financial, it's not necessarily $100 cash, but it's a $100 gift card that they're getting to go spend. That's going to speak to a certain type of person on the team that maybe doesn't have enough saved up for Christmas gifts, and this is going to be helpful for her. Then you've got the extra fun component of, here's $150. Now we're all going to go shopping together. So we're spending time, not necessarily just sitting and eating, but we're actually shopping together. And so I feel like it's different every year, but all of your end of year, gifts are different, and I think target different people on the team. And that's my favorite type, especially if this is the only thing that an office is doing, is kind of an end of year celebration. My one advice would be, make it multifaceted. Don't just hand over a card and go, here you go. Merry Christmas. I appreciate you. And there's money in it or a gift card or something like that. Do something else in addition to that, so that somebody who is more of a connector or a feeler, they get this lunch out of it, or we went to the spa together, or we went and painted pottery together, or something where there's still a connection piece for those that may not be driven primarily by money. So I think that's something we've always heard, is people are not driven primarily by money. And that is true still, that they feel valued in different ways. And so that's one of the things that I really want to encourage listeners is your end of year thing, especially if it's your only thing, make it multifaceted.
So see, and this is where you're the brains behind the operation, because for me, I just do it that way because that's what I like.
Yeah.
I want to eat, but I don't want to just eat. Like, I would be disappointed if I left that. I mean, I would be appreciative.
Yeah.
But I'd be like, man, I would have rather had that $20 to go spend on something than to have to sit here and eat lunch with these people. And it was a lunch that I kind of liked and didn't like, but I can make my own lunch, like that's honestly, that's where my mind would be. And I do, want the team building aspects. I do think it's fun when you can go and, we're going to go to Sephora. And so go see, oh, like this makeup, or here, I like this brand. Why do you like that brand? Here, let's try this on together. Oh, that looks really good on you. And then the next week when you show up at work with that eyeshadow you got at Sephora. Hey, Dr. Kuba, this is the eyeshadow you got me. Darby, do you remember you helped me pick this? Hey, I told you that was going to look good on you. Like, so it's just one of those things that I think is an experience. It's going to be fun. And make us kind of work together, even the quiet ones in the office. Yeah. In fact, I'm even thinking I may have to just pair them, like pair you up so you're not with your buddies. I know I'm doing a pairing, and I think we mentioned this before too. I've already, my kid helped me make the slips last night of the number, like you pull a number when you walk into lunch, and that's going to be the spot you sit in, because I don't want all the hygienists together, or the RDAs together. I want to mix it up.
Right.
And so yeah, you're the brains analyzing and going, there's a lot.
There's a strategy there.
A strategy. And for me, I'm like, it's just what I would like to do. Oh, look, I was being strategic. Like, I'm sitting here going, oh, yeah, you're right. That was a good strategy. Yes, that's what I intended to do, was hit multiple different types of people with these things. But that's how I would view myself. Like, that's what I would like to do. I would like to, have a little bit of everything. And so, because I think if you just handed me the cash, honestly, I would be the person who'd be most happy with that my introverted self, that I didn't have to interact with anybody and I could just have cash. But I do see the value in the rest. And I'm one of those two that, oh God, I gotta go have lunch with these people. But at the end of the lunch, I'm like, I'm so glad I did that.
Right.
So it's just pushing me out there. So yes, strategy. There you go. That's why you're the brains.
You're a multifaceted end of year celebration. That's you thought on all this.
Of course I did. Of course I did.
This was your strategy.
Didn't just fall ass backwards. Nope. I was forward thinking.
So the other thing that I want to kind of focus on is we did a shift several years ago when we were really trying to financially grow the practice. And we did incorporate a lot more team building, which we've talked about in other podcasts, but we specifically introduced some bonuses that I think would be helpful to talk about. So I definitely want to talk about kind of your throughout the year bonuses that you have in place for your team. And then I can share other bonuses or iterations of bonuses that may be helpful for listeners. But talk with some of the bonuses so again, shifting that focus to where they can earn throughout the year.
So I think we have 3 different bonuses throughout the year. Now, if you had said that to me, or if I was a listener and I just heard that, I would have been like, are you out of your mind? Like, that seems very complicated. And it's all I can do to wrap my brain around one type of bonus. And so I will get into that here, and why we have the 3 and what they are and all of that. And it's worked really well in our practice. But I as well was one, and have always been, I'm the one who in school may not have been the smartest one, but was the rallier and, hey, we got to get this done and let's do this. And you always had the teammates, on a group project that, like, there were 2 of you, and I was always one of the 2 that was moving the project forward. And then there were the 3 useless people. So I've always been very suspect of a bonus going, this isn't going to be fair. Like, how is this going to be fair that it's typically in an office, you've got your high energy focused people and that do the brunt of the work. And yes, you need the other workers. You can't get it done without them. But was it the same level of commitment, energy, focus, drive? No, it wasn't. And people could argue with me on that, but that's how I feel about it. I don't think that that's true, that everybody pulls their weight equally. I don't believe that. And so how does a bonus work then? And I think we've talked about this as well. Well, do I bonus you quietly on the side?
Right.
to not ruffle feathers. But on the other hand, then nobody else knows that you've been bonused on the side. So then they don't see that they could also be earning more. But if I do bonus in front of everybody, it would be the same two people I was getting a bonus. So then it looks like I'm playing favorites.
Right.
Or that I'm not celebrating the achievements of somebody within their ability to their ceiling. So all of that always made me go, I don't want to do bonuses because I don't see a fair way to do this. Again, you, the brains behind the operation, helped us figure that out. And so we'll dive into that. I'll go over the two easy ones first. One is a new patient bonus. That's all Scheduling Institute. Their new patient phone training to me is still was a game changer in our office. And we tried for a while where we stopped doing the new patient bonus. And we felt the result of that.
Yeah.
So the new patient bonus, basically, for those of you that have used Scheduling Institute, you know what I'm talking about. If you've never heard of them or don't know what they do, that to me is the one training of theirs that I will always do at least once a year now. It's expensive, but it does pay for itself. And they teach you how to answer the phone properly. And I get the question when I say that for people who've never heard of it going, what do you mean answer the phone properly? Hello, Dr. Kuba's office. How can I help you? Right? Like, how hard is it to answer the phone? That's what I used to think too. And Scheduling Institute showed me the error of my ways and a lot of things that I thought we needed to do. And I was hell-bent on going, what do you mean we don't need to collect this, and this info, and we don't need to this, and we don't need to that? And they teach you why and how you don't need it and how you come around there. And so it was extremely valuable. But part of their thing is to incentivize your team to really make sure these calls go well and to stay on it is they go over the value of a new patient and what that can mean for the practice. And then if you set goals each month. And if you hit the baseline amount of new patients you need to get that month, the team gets bonus per number of patients that they were responsible for getting on the schedule. So at that point, it's $5 a patient you got on the schedule. So for example, if our goal or if our baseline is 50 new patients this month and we meet that 50, then everybody, so say Amy scheduled 10 of those 50. Well, right. Amy just got $5 a patient. So Amy gets an extra $50 that month for her part in getting that patient.
Right.
And then they help you figure out a goal for your office. So there's baseline, which is 50 new patients, but the goal might be 58 new patients. And so if you guys, if collectively as a team, you hit that 58 patients, now you get $10 a patient. So now Amy just got $80. Right. So it can be, especially for front desk who answers the phones more often. Sometimes they're getting $200-$300 each of a bonus, depending on new patients.
And it's money well spent because, again, we all know the value of that new patient in the practice. And so it's again, it can be a lucrative thing especially for the front desk who's taking the bulk of those phone calls. But that should never be money that we're bitter about paying, because I can guarantee you your practice is earning, far more than what you're paying out to your front desk.
My husband has asked me that multiple times. Don't you feel like bitter when they get this bonus? I'm like, I am ecstatic when they get the bonus. Yeah. In fact, I almost want to lower the number so that they get it, because to me, again, it's a feel good and it keeps you motivated. If you've got something that they have to attain that's very difficult to attain, you're going to be like me. Why can't I lose the weight? Because I've got too much to lose. And it's going to take too long and too much effort and too much maintenance after that. So I'm just really not going to lose it. Like, that's my mentality. And so if I had this goal of like 120 new patients,
right,
but traditionally we've gotten 50, there's no way the team's going to get 120. And so you've made it unattainable. Why would anybody try harder? Because it's not attainable. So I really want to make it attainable. And to put dollars to what you're saying, suppose I have a $99 new patient promo. So now this patient comes in and gets scheduled and they come in. So I didn't make 99. I actually made 89 because now I owe the front desk $10 because they hit goal. Let's assume that. Okay, so I made $89. Well, I didn't really make 89 because now I got to pay the overhead and all of that. But the point to me is, now that 80 person for 89, typically there's more people that come in with that person.
Correct.
So I actually made more based on that. And now the thought is if they're coming in for recare and now, oh, we discovered that you have 2 broken amalgams that now need buildup in crowns.
Right.
Well, that $89 just turned into $2,000 and I only had to pay you $10.
It's a steal of a deal.
That's a steal of a deal. So you've got to kind of think
Long term
and open your mind to it. Now, I will tell you right now, like as we speak, I'm getting emails from my manager going, well, are we counting this patient as a new patient? Are we counting this patient as a new patient? So it can get a little nuanced sometimes. And I won't get into all of that right now. But the point is, yes, if I have to pay out $800 worth of new patient bonuses, that means I made 80 new patients.
Exactly.
Well, that 80 new patients, even if I could do the math on it, 8 of the 80 at $99 a pop, let's say 10 if they're now 89, whatever it is, 20 of them.
Yeah.
20 of them I paid they brought in, most of them are going to have insurance or have new patients, whatever it is. But that 20 alone probably paid for the bonus and I got 60 more.
Exactly.
It's a no-brainer. It makes sense to do it. And
it's something that's a consistent bonus. So a couple things about it is this isn't just something that's like, oh, okay, now we're really focused on new patients this month. It's so consistent that it's something that people can kind of settle into. The parameters of it are very, very clear, so they know what they need to do to earn that extra money. They self-report. So this is not something that we're necessarily having to pay somebody else, go figure out how many calls Amy took. No, Amy's tracking her own calls, and then she's responsible for turning in that report. Oops, Amy forgot to turn in her report. Oops, Amy doesn't get her bonus because Amy didn't turn in her report. So,
and that has happened, y'all.
Oh,
that has happened where it's like, nope, the deadline was this day.
Yep.
Well, I was out, I was on a PTO day. My kid had a field trip that day. Not my problem.
Sorry. Yep.
That's not my problem. That's your money. You want your money. You should have arranged for some other team member to get your list submitted. And so it does teach a valuable lesson too for accountability for other things. And my frustration always is if you're not going to do this for your own bonus, then what are you going to do for me? And so it really sets the tone. We had an issue with the bonus last month, and we may get to that here, but I took it as an opportunity to be a real bee, but I really wanted to set the tone of y'all just don't seem to have any accountability, and that's not fair. You expect the bonus money, but you don't want to do any extra steps. That's not fair. That's not life. So maybe we'll get to that in a minute too.
We can. Yeah, that'd be good.
So anyway, so that's one way of getting bonuses. And again, it's every month they see that check coming in. And especially right now, like I literally am looking at my phone right now and my office manager sent a message out to the team that says, we hit baseline for November. So baseline again is that bottom number. So everybody who turned in their list and said they're getting $5 a patient, who can't use the extra cash here around Christmas time?
And it's really for doing their job.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, this is not something extra that they're having to do. They're already taking those phone calls. They're just being focused on those phone calls. And little asterisk here, let's say a new patient had to cancel their appointment. If Amy was the original person that took that phone call and Sarah's the one that follows up with that new patient, calls them, oh, I see that you had to cancel your appointment. Let's get you back on the schedule. That now is Sarah's patient because she took the initiative to follow up with that patient. So it really encourages there's so much potential in a new patient for any practice. There's so much potential, and it gets your front desk realizing the value of that new patient enough to pursue them if they've had to cancel their appointment.
What I love is the scramble at the end of every month. And so whoever's tracking it in the office, I can guarantee you my office manager probably a week ago was like, hey guys, like suppose our goal is again 50. Let's just say it's 50. Hey guys, we're at 37.
Yeah.
We only need 13 more. Well, we know we're coming up on Thanksgiving break because that's going to be a no-brainer. We're going to hit that. Okay, guys, we're at 52. We only need 8 more. Yes, Thanksgiving has come and gone, but we've got 3 more days. to find 8 more patients. I guarantee you, everybody not everybody, the low tone people are still low tone, but the people that were kind of on the fence going, wait a minute. I had 20 of those. So I could either get $100 or get $200. We need 8 more patients. I can double my money. Mm-hmm. They're all combing through the lists of who canceled, who didn't come in, who else could we reach out to. They're checking the faxes and the emails. Did anybody refer a patient? Like a lot of times those patients just sit there. I'm like, you fool. This is a gift. This is a gift from Dr. So-and-so's office. Call this patient. Yeah. I'm getting around to it. I can guarantee you by the end of those last couple of days of the month, all of the emails are being checked. All of the faxes are being checked. Any person, because they see how close they are to doubling their money. Mm-hmm. And so
it's exciting. And again, it is front desk heavy, but it doesn't mean that a clinical person doesn't periodically answer the phone, or they have the opportunity to hop on the phone towards the end of the month to push through to kind of get to the next level. So it can be impactful to the whole team, but it's especially exciting to your front desk team. And it's one bonus that you have in the practice.
Yes. So I think that for the back team, and then we'll talk about how we adjusted it in a minute. I'll get to that, but yeah, so the back can absolutely, and it helps also. It would drive me bananas when a mom would walk in with her 5-year-old and the 2-year-old in tow. And in a pedo practice, we all know the AAPD guideline is age 1 that you need to be seen, because by age 2, it's too late. A lot of times we were already seeing, bottle carries, breastfeeding too long, all those things, all those habits we could have talked about at age 1 and prevented a problem. Nobody's bothered to address with this kid.
Yeah.
So why is this kid not? And people would just be like, humpity-doo. Now, there's no way if there's more than one kid with the parent in the back and we see only one kid has an appointment, you can better believe those assistants are going, hey,
yeah,
has so-and-so been seen? They've never been seen. Well, let's get them seen today. Here's the paperwork. They want that new patient.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
it's a comment that a previous employee once made, and she said something like, you're paying them double to do their own job. They should be answering the phones anyway. Well, yeah. So I tried stopping the new patient bonus. Numbers dwindled. Mm-hmm. Like numbers in the practice dwindled. Mm-hmm. And it was because there was not this tangible, accountable, monthly, consistent system in place. So,
and it's not necessarily just about the money. It's also about attaining the goal. So I think that's what's important with any bonus is we're not getting so wrapped up in the financial that I think about you talking about your kids earlier. I'm not paying my kid to wipe off the dinner table at the end of the night. I'm not paying my kid to take out the trash. It's that there's a tangible something that we're all trying to work towards. And it's exciting when we reach that. And yes, there's a financial extra on top of that, but it's really rallying the team around a centralized goal, which is the more tangible benefit, I guess, is what I would say.
And kind of what you were saying before, it hits two different, because some aren't motivated by the dollar amount,
yeah,
but they feel good going, I was able to help the practice. I was able to help the patient. I think that's another key thing with bonuses that always made me very nervous, because in my mind, it was if we have a production goal or a new patient goal, and then we're just seeing people just to see them and going, oh, I'm 1,000 off the production goal. Suddenly now, Miss Smith, you need a crown. Like, I just didn't want to have that mentality in the office where we were pushing for that. So we've made it very clear, like myself and the doctors in my practice, we don't do anything without justification. So if I'm going to do pulpotomy, you better be able to see the decay into the pulp. You better be able to have some symptoms with that. You better,
Exactly.
Everything has to be justified. So that part hasn't changed. But the other more predominant concept, if you will, if it's a win-win-win, and we've talked about that before in other podcasts, it's got to be a win-win for everybody, right? So for the practice to see a new patient, how is everybody a winner? Well, I, as the practice owner, am a winner when I get a new patient in because of all the financial,
potential
potential
it's a
there.
pipeline of potential.
Yes. Now I've created this bonus. So you as an individual assistant, you are getting bonus for your efforts in making this happen. The patient is a winner. That 2-year-old deserves the care, deserves the parent to have the education to know. The parent deserves somebody to educate them and say, hey, this is how you can prevent problems. Therefore, you will be saving money down the road as well.
Right.
When we recommend sealants, there was a time where I felt shady about recommending sealants on primary teeth. Why did I feel shady? I don't know. But in my mind, I was like, this parent's going to go, you want me to put a sealant on a tooth that's going to fall out? And I just needed a minute to readjust my thinking. And I was like, but I want sealants on my kids. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful every day for those primary molar sealants on my kids because I see the junk they eat at grandma's house.
Yeah.
And when I go to brush them at night, there's nothing in their grooves.
Yeah.
I just can focus on the gum line and interproximal. So personally, I'm so appreciative of that. And I start thinking, why am I putting that on you when this is something that your insurance may or may not cover?
Right.
And it's something of benefit to the patient. It decreases their chance of decay. So the patient's a winner. The parent's a winner because it takes less burden on their home care and less chance of paying for cavities. They're going to be far more expensive. Mm-hmm. The practice bonuses, because now we've made the money off of the sealants, but we've done it ethically.
Yes.
This is something that does benefit the patient.
Exactly.
We talk about laser bacterial reduction that we offer in our office. And for the kid that has the C brushing with the puffed up gums, that patient's a winner if we can advocate for them and say we have the technology that can help you. The parent wins because it's a healthier outcome for their child, and the practice wins because we're able to produce. So when I look at it that way, and the team knows that, and so for them, they are going, yes, we are. Why was I ignoring that 2-year-old? Mm-hmm. So really, at the initial glance, it might look, and there are some team members that probably don't care about the welfare of the kid. I don't believe that, but they probably care about their pocketbook more than anything else, going, I can bonus off of that one. But if it's a multifactorial feel good, you know you benefited, but you know you helped that kid. You helped that kid get seen and get them the care they needed. So it's been a very big ethical boost in our practice for us to say, I'm advocating for this child and what their needs are.
And really, it's holding our feet to the fire, right? So it's like our job is to advocate for that 2-year-old that mom didn't know needed to come to the dentist. And human nature, we can kind of move into easy street and forget about that 2-year-old. But you know what? Hey, we've got something that causes us to kind of turn back and focus. So it does benefit the patient. And yes, do I get a little financial uptick from that? Absolutely. But the point was it focused us on what that patient should be getting from us, which is us advocating for that 2-year-old. So it really is, I agree with you. I feel like one of the responses I hear when I mention a bonus is, oh, I don't know. And a bonus should never push us out of the ethical boundary. A bonus should focus the whole team on, no, I need to be talking about this with the patient because this is a win for them. And as a secondary result, it's a win for me too. But my primary is it's a win for the patient first. And that's why I'm talking about primary sealants, or that's why I'm talking about the 2-year-old that needs to be seen. That's my primary motivation. And it's exciting when I get rewarded for that.
Yes.
That's
but kind of the strategy you were mentioning back with the Christmas gifting. There are going to be some that are going to be excited about the money and all of that. But then you've got your others that are more competitive. And so money, great, patient, fine, but I'm goal driven and I want to do what I need to get to the goal. And then you've got your next subset of people that are all the feely people like me going, I want to be able to help people. This is why I'm a dental assistant in this practice. This is why I'm a hygienist in this practice, because I want to help this patient. And this patient, like we watch them walk in with their Gatorade in their cup. I want to take the time to educate this patient on the potential sequela for that. Let's get this patient seen. So it kind of targets the different driving factors for the team.
Motivation factors.
So this is where it is a good time to segue into, we say we have 3 bonuses. So the new patient bonus is 1. This is our production bonus. This is the one that made me most nervous. But it's worked and we've had it for a while now. And every year we kind of go and say, do we need to change this up? And our answer always ends up being no, it's working. And so I'll let you talk about that because you're the one who really is the brains behind all of that.
Yeah, so it's a daily production bonus. So we have, depending upon how the schedule is staffed on any particular day, so we have some 2 doctor days, some 1 doctor days in your office, but we have a daily goal that we're aiming for. And it's very clear on you utilize Dentrix, so it's very clear on the Dentrix schedule of what we're aiming for on that particular day. And then if we hit the goal, then the team essentially is able to draw. So we have kind of tokens set up that represent a dollar amount. Asterisk here, I do recommend that all bonuses, for the most part, unless it's a gift card, which again, your CPA would say something about that, but all bonuses really, I like for it to be routed through the payroll system so that it's taxed appropriately and we're above board on that. So they draw on, so let's say the goal for Monday is a $5,000 day, and yay, we made $6,000 that day. We produced it. Then the team would be able to draw a token out that represents a dollar amount, $5, $10, $15, $20. It doesn't matter what the amount is. It's just they're able to draw. Let's say Tuesday's day is a double doctor day and we're aiming for $10,000 on that day. Yay, we produced $12,000. Now on Tuesday, because we hit it consecutively, we were able to draw twice out of that. So we have Monday's token. Now we're drawing out and we've got 2 tokens that we're able to draw on Tuesday. And then it can build all the way to Friday is a $5,000 day and we made $7,000 that day. So wow, we hit 5 consecutive days in a row. So it can really add up for the team by the end of the week if they hit it consecutively. And then it resets at the beginning of the week. So it's a kind of a 1 week period of time. So one of the strategies that has always made practice owners uncomfortable is the idea of a daily bonus, because they worry that the team will just shift all the production to one day and then you got the rest of the week that's bleak. So what I like about this daily production bonus that builds is that it prevents that from happening. They want to get to Friday and have hit every day consecutively. And your team has remained motivated by that. I think it's an exciting thing depending upon the month. I mean, it can be very lucrative for them if we hit consecutively. It doesn't build a lot of value if it's just a random day here and there. So, but it's still a bonus. They may end up with $20 at the end of the month because they hit 3 kind of random days. But the goal is to really push them to hit it more consistently. Now, for your practice in particular, we haven't had to do a lot of bumping up of that daily goal. We've been able to keep it more or less consistent with a few little upticks here and there. I would say practices that are actively like, we need to expand quickly, that daily production goal should be something that changes every quarter. Where it's like, okay, well, we aimed at $5,000 because we wanted to make it attainable, back to your point earlier. If our typical production is $3,000 a day and we're like, oh, it'd be so nice to make $5,000, let's set the daily goal at $5,000, that bonus plan is going to fail because you're never going to hit that. So you want to hit it. You want to go, okay, we consistently hit $3,000. So you know what? For the first quarter, we're going to set it for $3,100, and that's our daily goal. And then, wow, we were able to hit that consistently. Now, quarter 2, we're going to bump that up to $3,400. And so, again, we incrementally move up for a practice that's in an active growth mindset. We've done a few little bumps, but we've got it set where we know what you need to produce, and then if we hit these daily goals pretty consistently, you hit it. So that's our production bonus. There are iterations of that. So you can do it on a more of a monthly standpoint. Like, did we hit this base amount? Similar to the new patient. It's a lot of people call it BAM. So bare ass minimum. What's our minimum number that we have to hit? Okay, we hit that, and now everything on top of that, we're able to kind of share in the profit. There's so many different ways you can slice that apple. I won't dive into it all now, but this is the production bonus that has worked really well on your team.
So you've got to have, I've got the one person who is very, she's driven, she's financially driven, she's competitive. And so she's kind of the one who, because you're going to have a bunch that don't understand the math and don't really get it. And they're there to work hard, and they're going to work hard regardless, which is appreciated, but they're not strategic in their hard work. And so for me, what do I mean by that? Well, if we've only got 10 patients on the schedule and now 3 fell off, so now I'm counting on hitting this goal with 7 patients. But looking at it, does this patient need sealants? Does this patient have outstanding treatment? So is the patient going to win too? That's always the question. And so once you start looking and focusing, and in your morning huddle, you're talking about, hey guys, like this is money on the table that does benefit the patient too. Where before, it's not that somebody didn't care, but it was like, meh. Now they're going, wait a minute, we could have hit goal yesterday. We missed it by $50.
Yes.
If we had been more focused and gotten those sealants done, the kid was cooperative, the teeth were erupted. The only problem is that nobody bothered to talk to the mom about it. We put fluoride on, the kid's up and out of the chair, and now somebody's like, oh yeah, those red S's, we could have sealed. The number of times that happens in the practice is mind-boggling. It's defeating.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, I'm like, don't you want that kid to have their first molars protected? Like, I don't understand why you wouldn't. Yeah. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you got the hygienist that's super motivated, then that kid got sealants.
Yeah.
And nobody else in that time slot got sealants because everybody else is like, whatever. Now this, if we can say in morning huddle, flag it on the route slip, if we can get these sealants done, we are only, it's devastating yet so powerful when we miss it by like $20.
Yes.
We produced, if the goal was $5,000, we produced $4,980. We missed it by $20.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The team is like, oh. And it does make you go back and say, even things like, did we make sure we build out every PA we took?
Exactly.
Did we make sure we build out what we did? Because how frustrating is that? When we do the chart audits, we just did 3 chart audits for your clients the other day. There's money being left on the table.
Yes.
The front desk didn't bill out PAs. They didn't bill out the pano. Nobody billed out the limited exam. Mm-hmm. You only billed out 1 PA.
Yeah.
But you did all of this for So we find things, and that's really fun for the chart audit going, hey, doc, yeah, we're picking on you for missing the blood pressure and the vitals. But guess what? You're owed another $175.
Yes.
Because
we found money on the table.
We found money on the table that just paid for your audit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yes, it kept you safe from a liability standpoint. So the team goes back and combs through the ledgers and the charts to make sure that everything was documented appropriately. There's like all these other side little bonuses of having this in there. Yeah. And we pay ours, how ours is done. I think the one motivated person keeps track. Mm-hmm. And so she gets the numbers from the AR person. Yeah. As far as what was produced. And then she goes back and looks. So if you weren't there that day, mm-hmm. you're not pulling that day. Mm-mm. You didn't contribute. And that was where I like that, because to me, I was like, well, what about the person who's on vacation for a week? And then with any other bonus system, they still get bonused. Or if they were gone for a week and it's like, oh, you don't get bonus now. Well, then what's their incentive to like really, bump up and perform the rest of the month?
Exactly.
This is like done by the day. So now you're talking about days like holidays where people want to be off and all of this. Well, we're a pedo office. We need to be here. Mm-hmm. And so now I'm like, you are dumb for taking that day off. If I was you, I would take the Monday after off where nobody's being here, because you're going to miss 3. We know over Thanksgiving break.
3 consecutive days.
We know we're going to hit that. Mm-hmm. We know we are. Mm-hmm. And so you're going to bonus quite a bit. Mm-hmm. Because like you said, on Monday you hit bonus, you pulled once. Well, what if you pulled a $50 chip on Monday?
Exactly.
Tuesday you got to pull twice because we hit it again on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. So now you pulled a $20 chip and a $10 chip.
Yeah.
You're up to $80.
$80 in 2 days.
In 2 days. Day 3 we hit it. You pulled a $100 chip.
Yeah.
Now, if you missed that second day, you pulled once on Monday and you pull once on Wednesday.
That's right.
If you were there all 3 days and you bonus all 3 days, you pull 1 on Monday, 2 chips on Tuesday, 3 chips on Wednesday.
Yeah.
You just made $300 extra.
Exactly.
For being here.
Yep.
That week. And so what the smart ones that can figure out the math on that are starting to go, hell no, I'm not taking Thanksgiving week off.
Exactly.
That's too lucrative.
Yeah.
My hygienist right now, she's off this whole week.
Yeah.
Why? Because crickets are chirping in a pedo office. We just finished Thanksgiving break and Christmas is about to hit. So she knows she's not going to take any of those 2 times off.
Now's the time.
Now is the time. She's off this week with my blessing.
Yes.
Out you go.
Go.
Less overhead. Bye-bye. Yeah. Right?
Yes.
So it's a win-win in so many ways.
And it's still multifaceted. So it is primarily financially driven, but it's exciting because we're able to focus on it in the morning. Like, hey guys, we're scheduled to goal today. We're actually a little bit over. We got to stay focused on not losing anybody off the schedule. If we lose one hygiene patient off the schedule, that's going to drop us below goal. So let's make sure we retain our patients on the schedule. Definitely be looking for any extras that could push us a little bit higher because we know cancellations are prevalent right now. So it gives us that focus in the morning. Then it's exciting. Some people, you draw a little bit differently, but some offices actually draw at the end of the day and they're like, guys, we made it, way to go. So it is, that token is a financial representation, but it's also like an exciting way to end the day.
We achieved.
Yes.
Our efforts were worth something.
We got it, you know, so it's a real positive way to end the day. And so it's that for the feelers on the team, we started with a positive, like, rah, rah, let's go. And we ended with a positive. Even when we don't hit it, it's not like, God, we totally failed today. It's like, oh, we were $200 off. Let's look and see what could we have done to make that $200 today. And then let's do it tomorrow. We're going to get it tomorrow. We've still got, you know, days ahead of us that we can hit this. So it's a very positive feeling that we can create on the team with this type of bonus.
And the other thing that I really love about this one is it really takes every person to do their job right? So like it takes the person on the phone to get the patient scheduled. So that call has to go well. Yeah. It's got to be scheduled appropriately. When they come in, the team has got to kill it, has got to do amazing customer service, has to be focused, has to make sure we've got all the etch and all the whatever we need in stock. So people need to be prepared and planning for that. And so if the assistant drops the ball, then and we missed it because, you know what, Emma, we could have done sealants today, but we couldn't do them because you didn't order etch and we ran out. And now the entire team's looking at her going, this is your fault that we, you know, so it kind of holds people accountable. It takes the collections person to collect. And that's the other big thing that always makes me a little nervous. And I check in pretty much every quarter going, wait a minute, I'm paying this based on production. That is not collections.
Right.
But our AR person, like our collections are in good shape. So she sets the number, the daily goal number with some buffer room to it such that I'm not going to be out money. Like it's not like I bonus the team and now I'm like, wait, I bonused them on those sealants. I didn't get paid for those sealants. So it really takes everybody to earn the bonus.
I think that's a really valid point to bring up here. So bonusing on production or collections, again, there's a million different ways that we can kind of slice that and dice it. For a daily production goal situation like we've just talked about, it really has to be based on production. It's hard to base it on collections because we're collecting for Wednesday, December 1st for weeks after Wednesday, December 1st. So if you are consistently running a lower collection rate, let's say that your collection rate is consistently in the 90th percentile, you just want to build that buffer into the production bonus. So if you're like, I've got to have $5,000 a day to survive, but you know you're only going to collect 90% of that, okay, well then you raise your bonus up to your daily goal up to 5,200 or 5,400, I forget what the math is, to be able to account for that. So I think that's really important. If you do more of a monthly or quarterly type bonus, you can absolutely do it on collections. It's a little bit harder to get your team motivated.
And that's why I don't like that. Yeah. People, especially this generation, wants it yesterday.
Immediate.
Yes. Yeah. And so it keeps it fresh on their mind.
Yeah.
The ones that are like, somebody do what bonus? What? I don't. They get a check, a separate check. So they get their paycheck, you know, bi-monthly.
Yeah.
Whatever that is. Bi-monthly, right? Yeah. Where they get it twice a month.
Twice a month.
Right.
Yeah. And let's go twice a month.
But the third Tuesday of every month, they get their bonus check.
Yeah.
So that includes their new patient bonus, that includes their pulling bonus, and that includes their baseline bonus. That's the third bonus we haven't talked about yet. So real briefly, baseline bonus was my answer years ago to when Affordable Care Act and everybody was supposed to get insurance and you were going to get in trouble if you didn't have insurance for you and your family. But we didn't have medical insurance we were offering because I always thought that was a nightmare to deal with. So my response to that was, I'm giving you a $200 stipend every month with the intention of that should go towards your insurance premiums, but I'm not going to monitor that. And I'm not going to call it an insurance premium because I think at that time that was illegal to call it that. So we just call it a baseline bonus. You're getting this. You don't have to do anything extra. You're getting this every month.
Right.
So, so those are the three bonuses in our office that
Yeah.
And they get a separate check for that.
Yes. So it's very visible how much is tied up in that bonus. And again, I think the key word of the day, maybe we need to title this multifaceted, because it's 3 different streams of bonus potential income. And I think that it's worked really well in your practice. So I hope that anybody listening would take that.
Right. And I would say, for example, now, like I'm writing bonus checks, right, for that Tuesday coming up, and I might be paying $5,000-$6,000 that I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
But what I have to remind myself is, well, how many days did we hit that goal?
Yeah.
Which probably means maybe 2 of the days that I have are paying for this.
Yeah.
But what about the other 5 days that are just extra because the team was focused, we were productive, we didn't leave money on the table, patients were taken care of, they got the care they needed.
Yeah.
It motivates people to start pushing a little bit and going, this kid has a mouthful of decay and they're hurting and the parents are dragging their feet on scheduling the IV treatment. I'm going to make those extra steps to ensure that this patient gets scheduled. But also, if we get, 4 of these patient schedules, we're going to hit our goal.
Yeah.
Win-win-win all the way around. So for me, if I had a $6,000 IV day, yes, I will pay you some of that because
Absolutely.
I made far more on a day that I wouldn't have made $6,000.
Exactly.
We were doing nothing on Monday, but
Yeah.
now we have an IV day and we were able to see 4 patients. I made $6,000. So yes, I may have turned around and paid all $6,000 for that bonus, but they're not getting that much money off of one day.
Exactly.
They had to have hit goal multiple times. In fact, October bonus. Mm-hmm. When she sent me the numbers for October, I was like, what? I thought we had a crummy October. And then I looked at the production number. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like it in the office. We weren't bustling at the seams. It felt like a slow month.
Yeah.
But the
it was
numbers
productive.
spoke otherwise.
Yeah.
Yes, they did. And so I was like, okay, happily. Here's my $5,000 check for bonuses.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's worth it. Again, it's hard in the moment to see the total amount collectively like that, but you've got to think about it as what would I have missed, which is a lot of it. You would have missed a lot of it if that bonus wasn't connected to it.
So if somebody has a $300 pulling bonus for October, I've got to go and say, well, the chips that they pull from, the tokens are all $10, $20, $50. And if you manage to hit 300, that tells me we must have had a lot of high goal days.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to make 300 if you pull $10 every time. Right?
Exactly.
So we must have had consecutive days. Well, why in October would we have consecutive days? We don't. It's not like it's a holiday month.
Right.
So we must have busted it on days. My person who watches the numbers, there are multiple days where she's like, yeah, you don't come in. Like, why don't you want me to come in? I'll help with the schedule. Well, she knows the goal opportunity is different. If it's a 1 doctor day, the goal might be 3,000.
Yeah.
The minute I'm there, it's just jumped up to 5,500. And so she's like, I don't think we're going to make the bonus on that day. Well, then I'm sitting there going, well, if I've got 2 associates there that day, sorry, we're not dropping the goal. You guys better bust it to fill that schedule. If it's me, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'd rather sit at home with my kids and go on their field trip this day. Fine. I don't need the income. Fine. Count it as a 1 doctor day.
Exactly.
So it motivates the team to look at overhead as well.
Yeah. They're more aware of that overhead, especially in your practice because of the differing days, that they're much more cognizant of it. And on the days that they know they don't have the luxury to say, hey, Dr. Kuba, we don't need you, they're busting butt to get that production. And they're excited, even if it was a physically hard day. Like, man, it was busy, but it was worth it because we hit production. So it makes a nice little exclamation point at the end of a nice, hard, solid day of working really hard. Just like, yeah, but we bonused for it. We didn't just bust our butt for no reason. We are going to earn something off of that.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like we could spend a whole nother episode on this, but we've talked about a lot, and I hope it's helpful to listeners, especially this time of year as we're thinking about not only what we want to do for the holiday season, but also as we plan for 2020. I would definitely add bonuses if you have
2022.
2022. Why am I still in 2020?
Please, let's not go back to 2020. God bless.
2022. Yeah, don't plan for 2020. Plan for 2022 and add bonuses to your list of things to think about. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining the conversation today. We hope that you are comforted in knowing that you are not alone, but we also hope that you're walking away with some really great tips and tricks to try in your practice. We value your feedback, so please take a few moments to rate and review the podcast. Finally, we want to make sure that we're covering the topics that matter to you. So track us down on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and let us know what topics you want us to cover. As always, please know that we are rooting for you today as you manage your dental drama.